we have Mr. Kute Blackson talk about the magic of surrender. We talk about the ego and how to frame it. We'll be diving into this one of the Happiest Podcast with Mr. Kute Blackson. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee-yee. All right, Mr. Kute Blackson, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast, my man. I am super excited to rock the mic with you.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, man, this is going to be a good one. I'm excited because you are a beloved inspirational speaker and transformational teacher. You are the author of a national best-selling book. You are the one, and you have a new book called The Magic of Surrender, and you're widely considered the next generation leader in the field of personal development. And we got all things to talk about: happy hustling, fatherhood, as I know you're a new father, as am I, husband, and you got a pretty cool event coming up in Bali. So we're going to get into all that good stuff and how people can really just leverage the magic of surrender. We're going to be talking about love, life, spiritual freedom, and manifestation. And, you know, one of our 10 alignments of being a happy hustler is actually mindful spirituality. So there's 10 different core areas that we focus on. So this is very in line with that alignment, will you? But before we get into all that good stuff, Kute, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Something interesting. I don't know, man. It's funny. The more I evolve, the less interesting I find myself. The less interested I become in myself and my personality and my identity and my story. And, you know, I think that's interesting. Is the deeper I go on the spiritual path, the less interested I become in myself. And maybe people seem to think I'm interesting. But I think my relationship with myself and my own sort of persona has shifted over the years. I think it depends what you mean by interesting. You know, if it's sort of surface level stuff, I really love Formula One. As a young boy, I wanted to be a teenager. I wanted to be a soccer player or a singer, but couldn't sing for shit, and realized my best ability as a soccer player was like the worst ability of the good players. So I'm like, that's not my path, no matter how hard I work. And so, you know, I love travel. I love people. I love getting lost in different cultures and putting myself in situations where I have no idea and not able to speak the language. And so, that's, you know, maybe some would consider that interesting. I love getting lost and just wandering the world. You know, like my sort of ideal days would be just going to an airport and not having a plan and literally just spinning a bottle and seeing where do I want to go today, and ended up in freaking Nairobi, and then okay, where do you want to go now? I ended up in like Manila. And so I've before I was a father and had to be a little more grounded and planning, I had the freedom to just get lost in the world at times. And so maybe some would consider that interesting.
Heck yeah, brother. I think travel is literally the greatest teacher of all time. And I think for me, you know, I lived abroad. I lived in Barcelona for about a year, in Bangkok for about a year, in Rio de Janeiro
I love Bangkok. My wife is from
a while.
Rio.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I get to travel around those different continents while in those different cities. And man, some of my fondest memories. And I feel like I really got to know myself when I was traveling. What would you say is one of the greatest lessons you've learned from travel?
I think one of the greatest lessons that I've learned from travel is that no matter who we are, no matter what nationality, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Chinese, whether you're, Jewish, whether you're Catholic, it really doesn't matter. Whether you're a billionaire, whether you live in a slum. What I have found is that underneath all the superficial, surface level seeming differences, that essentially we are all the same, and we all have the same fears, and we all have the same desires. The fear of death, the fear of being insignificant, the fear of one's life not meaning anything, the fear of losing loved ones, the
Mm,
fear of not finding love, the fear of not living up to one's potential, the fear of survival and not having enough money. We all have the same fears, man. That's the bottom line. I don't care. It's the same in China. It's the same in UK. It's the same in LA.
mm,
And at the deepest level, we all want the same things. We all want to be loved. We all want to be cared for. We all want to have a certain meaning in our lives. And so, what I found is really at the deepest level, we are one. And
mm,
I think when we strip away the soup, like as I travel the world, I one of the things that shocks me about humanity now. And I think when we look back hundreds of years from now, we will look at each other and go, wow, you mean in 2024, people were still racist. They still believed in the ridiculousness of separation. Like, really? Because what is breathing me is the same intelligence, the same consciousness, the same divine essence is what is breathing you. And
mhm,
ultimately, traveling to places like India and walking through slums with the poorest people in the world, and going through favelas of Rio, and then, you know, being with billionaires in Israel. Is We all have the same fears and we all have the same wants. And so I think there is a common spirit and consciousness in humanity that ties us all together. And I think
mhm,
we will find as we travel that we are much more alike as humans than we are different. And I think that's the beauty of things. We are really, we're one human family. For me, we are souls. That's what we are. We are souls that we incarnate into this human experience, and maybe we have different beliefs and different religions and different what have you. But the soul has no passport. The soul has no color. The soul
mm,
has no nationality. When I traveled to India and I went to Varanasi, Varanasi is where the Ganges is. And Varanasi is a special spot because it's a very holy place in India where they burn dead bodies. And I remember one day my life changed when I was 23 years old because I found myself on the banks of the Ganges observing these dead bodies, and I saw an entire in 2 hours. It takes 2 hours for a body to burn, and I saw this human body that was alive a few hours or days ago, just like you and I walking around, and here it was on a pyre of wood and burning. The head was crackling, the brain was crackling, the feet
mm,
was sizzling, and it made me really think like, are we just this body? Like one moment it's here and next moment it's gone, or is there a spirit, is there a energy, is there an intelligence, is there something that is animating and breathing and giving life to this body that is me? And so it really made me think like, what am I, and who am I, and who are we really? And so as I
mm,
traveled, it really made me question and have an inquiry into the nature of like, what is it that I am? And so what I realized for myself is I'm not my skin color, I'm not my physical body, because the body changes, the hair changes, my physical body changes, even the best body will change,
yeah,
right? Am I my beliefs? Well, I'm a child. I believe in Santa Claus. Now I'm 20 something, 30 something, 40. I don't believe in Santa Claus. You
yeah,
know, am I my religion? Am I my nationality? I mean, all of these things can change. I have a Ghanaian passport. Then I had a UK passport. Now I also have a British passport. Right now I also have a U.S. passport, and now I also got a Mexican citizenship. And so, am I my nationality? Is like, no, because all of these things change. So if these things are constantly changing, then what is it that I am? What is it that is the real essence of who I am? And so as I travel, I think seeing different cultures and different beliefs. You go to Cambodia as an example, and
Hmm.
thousands of years ago, it was the Khmer tradition and animistic religion and culture. Then it shifted to Hindu. Now it's shifted to Buddhist, and now it's so. Who are we? And so this has been the beauty of what travel has given me, the questioning of, like, who am I? And I think
Mm,
what it forced me to really connect to is I am energy, I am infinite, I am
mm,
consciousness, I am a spark of the divine, you know, energy of life, whatever people, want to call it. Um, I am that. I am a spark of that. And I think to me, the inherent recognition of what we really are, what I really am, through my travels has opened up a realization of what I am. Because when I realize what I am, I realize what you are. That the
mm.
same breath, the same life force, the same intelligence that's breathing me is really breathing you. It's no different. It's the same essence.
Yeah.
And so for me, real love, which is part of what travel has sort of sparked within me, real love is the inherent recognition of the oneness of existence, the oneness of life. That, to be honest, even though I'm here and you're there, and we are seemingly separate bodies, we're being lived and breathed by the same divine intelligence. And so we are actually not separate. There's a oneness that connects us. And
Yeah.
so that's the beauty, of traveling and exploring cultures and being forced to question myself.
Yeah. Amen to all that, brother. That's beautiful, beautifully said. Um, I want to echo a point that you made, which was the fear of insignificance. And I bet you
Uh-uh.
a lot of happy hustlers out there can really, resonate. There's six core human needs, as stated. I know Tony Robbins talks about this
Uh-huh.
as well: certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, contribution, and growth. And I think significance gets weighted very heavy for people unconsciously. It's
Uh-huh.
this need that we feel in our soul. And I talk about this in my book, The Happy Hustle version 2.0, which at the time of this recording, I didn't mention this to you, brother, but today it's launching live, and we are on
Mm.
track for USA Today bestseller and potentially Wall Street Journal and a couple other lists. So I'm very
Congratulations.
excited. So it's pretty cool to have it all come full circle, talk about this stuff of significance as I'm attempting to gain significance myself through this
Mm,
book, which,
mm, mm,
I know it's
mm,
vanity metrics, but it's very evident to me now talking to you, these
mm,
six core needs and how they show up. So I say all that to circle back to significance, and specifically the fear of insignificance.
uh-huh.
When I talk about it, it's this insatiable thirst of the more disease.
Yeah.
It's constantly like wanting more money, more followers, more love, more toys, more likes, all of it. It's just more everything. And it's like this disease we get infected with. And I believe the true cure is the power of contentment and exercising
Mm,
gratitude. I'm
mm.
curious for you, what do you think the cure of insignificance is, or the fear of insignificance, and how do we cure ourselves of
Well,
it?
well, yeah. I think we have to understand where this feeling of insignificance arises from, because what feels insignificant is the ego. It's the ego that is riddled with the feeling of insignificance.
True.
Um, the ego's drive. Well, first, let's see, what is the ego? The ego is that illusory sense of self that we mistakenly believe ourselves to be and identify ourselves as, based on name, form, childhood conditioning, beliefs, ideas, perceptions that we hold onto, and then we identify this is who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the job of the ego isn't even real. The ego is a process of identification that
Mm.
is set into motion from a very young age. We can go deeper into that as well. But the ego isn't real, it's a process of identification. Like
Yeah.
a bicycle is a thing, right? Pedaling is the process. And
Right.
so ego is not a thing. It is the process of pedaling, the process of identification. And so the ego's job is to protect you from getting hurt, to ensure that you don't get hurt like you were hurt when you were 5, when dad left, and when mom screamed, and when, you know, parents were fighting, and when needs weren't met. So the ego is a kind of conditioned reaction to certain things that occur where we created a defense mechanism that we then held onto and continued to do, that then got reinforced through experiences, right? And it worked for us, and so we kept doing it. But it's not real. Or we ended up learning who we needed to become in order to get love and validation and approval. Oh, I'm going to be nice. Oh, I'm going to be kind. Oh, I'm going to be sweet. I'm going to be. So we develop a role, a mask, and a persona in order to get love, validation, approval. And then we hold on to that way of being, and we contort ourselves into that shape. And that becomes who we think we are. And that holding on is ego, right?
Mm.
And,
Mm.
and so it's the ego that tries to protect us from getting hurt, but it's the ego that also, the ego's job is to reinforce its existence.
Mm.
So the ego is constantly fighting to reinforce its existence, and it's terrified of letting go. We're terrified of surrendering. The ego is terrified of letting go. The ego is terrified of truly surrendering to God, the divine, this innate intelligence, because, like, if I really surrender to God my life to become awakened, then I may not exist anymore. And so this is why we often seek to control everything, to reinforce that I am here, I am something, I am some. Ego. There's a sort of acronym for it. Ego, ego, easing God out, right? And
Mm.
and the more we are in ego, the more we contract into a limited sense of self. The more we sort of disconnect ourselves with the divine, with the flow of life, with the universe, so to speak. And so often the drive for significance, if I can get that Lamborghini, right? If I
Mm.
can get the six pack, if I can make $1 million, if I can get that Rolex watch, if I can get the girl, then I'm gonna be someone, and people in the world will know. And many times we don't realize that our goals and the drive for significance is a projection of the unmet need from childhood. Dad
Mm.
wasn't around, mom wasn't around, I wasn't valued, I wasn't validated. So now that causes a certain level of pain. And if I can be the best, if I can be number one, if I can get 1 million followers, you're gonna freaking pay attention to me, and,
Yeah.
and and that will compensate for the lack that I felt growing up. The challenge is, as you mentioned, it's insatiable and it never ends, because nothing outside of yourself can fulfill the lack that you feel inside. And so
Mm.
often the
Mm-hmm.
drive for significance is a dead, or the way we're looking to get significance is a dead end path. True significance is realizing that what you are is not real, and what you are is truly insignificant in the totality of God and the totality of the divine. Because the only thing that is real is God, the only thing that is real is the divine, and the only thing that is real is soul. And the truth is, you know, when you and I die, we are just a little speck in the ocean of
True.
life, and most of us will dissolve like ashes into the wind, and our children, and then our children, like, bro, do you even remember your great 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 grandfather 3 generations above? Do you remember three
No.
generations above you? Okay, you
Yeah.
know your dad. Okay, you kind of know your granddad.
Yeah.
Kind of, but your great granddad wasn't that far. That means it's like your son. Will he even really remember you? Your son's son. You're kind of going to be insignificant to him. So we don't have much significance. And so we have to really understand true contentment does not come from the pursuit of trying to be significant. True contentment, all that does is reinforce the false ego. True contentment comes from the realization of who and what we really are. And when you realize that you are not the ego that is actually seeking significance, and that is a drug because it just constantly needs to seek more and more and more and more significance, right? It
Mm-hmm.
never ends. It never ends because the ego wants to seek and seek. Part of what keeps the ego going is the process of constantly seeking. So the ego wants to seek and 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 never find. Because the moment it finds, oh shit, it's kind of dissolved. So what keeps the ego going is the continual activity of seeking more and seeking more and seeking more and seeking more. And so the ego can't afford to be content. The ego can't afford to just relax because oh shit, what will I even exist if I'm at peace? Will I even exist if I'm fulfilled? Right? Will I exist if I let go? And so true the cure, contentment comes when we surrender and we realize what we are, that we are not the ego. The ego is not what we are. What we are truly, the real essence, our true nature is beyond birth, is beyond death. It is that the unbroken stream of consciousness that we truly are, which is energy, which is life force. And so when we can realize that we are not the ego, it
Mm.
shifts something. We're no longer, we become less afraid of death. We become less afraid of insignificance because we are the energy of life. We are the energy of life itself. And so uh, I think the contentment comes in knowing who we are, that we are children of God. We are a spark of this intelligence that is life.
Mm.
That true understanding and fulfillment will, and the connection to something deeper, the connection to that deeper divine sort of fulfillment, I think brings us the contentment and the true significance in our true identity
Mm.
beyond the ego and beyond form and beyond stuff. Because when we know who and what we are, that true identity covers us with the real fulfillment and contentment of knowing what we are. And
Yeah.
that I think is real freedom. You know, that is real freedom. Nothing outside of us really will. It never ends. See, here's the thing. From when we're locked in ego, we have a sort of subject object relationship with life. So now we think that, oh, if I can like get that Ferrari, as an example, right? I mean, hey, I love Ferraris. Nothing wrong with Ferraris.
Yeah.
But if I can get that Ferrari, then I'm going to be significant and then I'm going to be happy. So we now make the object the source of our significance and our happiness, right? So we attain the goal, we feel like a glimmer of happiness, and now we make the goal the source of our happiness. So now the reason it never ends is because we want that feeling again. So we have to attain another thing and another thing and another thing and
Right.
another thing to feel more significant, more happy, what have you. And it never ends. But what we don't realize is what happens when we achieve the goal. What actually happens is this. If you understand this, it will change everything. When you achieve the goal, you stop seeking. You
Mm.
attain the thing and you stop seeking for a moment. Like you get the car, it's like, everyone loves you. You stop seeking. And then you start seeking again. But what happens is it's not the attainment of the goal that brings you the Ah, it's the fact that the process of you seeking, there's a cessation in your seeking. The cessation in your seeking for a moment allows you to relax,
Right.
allows you to relax into what you are, which is connected to the divine. And that relaxation into your nature for a moment, the cessation of seeking, allows you to relax into the nature of what you are. That connection is the real contentment. And
Mm,
that's why we feel content, not because we achieved the thing. And
right.
because our focus is a bit off, we keep seeking. And that's why, there's that age old quote. It's a spiritual quote. It's a religious quote, but for me, it's also a spiritual quote. The kingdom of heaven is within you.
Mm.
Doesn't say, hey, the kingdom of heaven is in $1 million crypto account. The kingdom of heaven is
Yeah.
in, a Lamborghini Aventador. The kingdom of
Yeah.
heaven is in a $5 million. The kingdom of heaven is within you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of us, we're looking outside.
It's true.
We're just not looking inside to that true source of life and connection. Anyway,
No, it's again, man, sage words. And, you know, the ego, I've heard it in many regards. People will say the ego is thy enemy. Some people say the
it's not
ego
the
is
enemy.
your amigo. The people say edging God out. You said easing God out. Like, I feel like your description, you said the ego is a process of identification. That's profound. I haven't heard it in that frame. And it really is us identifying. We get so attached to our
Identity.
stories
Yeah.
and our beliefs
Yes.
and who we think we are. Like you said, we are just divine spiritual beings having a human experience, right?
Yes.
We're connected to consciousness, the oneness. And sometimes I lose track of that, and I get so caught up in my little world of like
You do,
every
brother.
it's like,
The
oh my
human
god,
experience.
yeah, everything in our world is so magnified. We feel like life or death in every regard almost. And you
But it's
have to
so,
zoom
I
out.
think I think you're hitting something so important because we incarnate into the human experience, right? As we are these infinite beings. We are a spark of the infinite, and we incarnate into this human experience that is full of like up and down. It's full of duality, man. It's full of limitation,
Yeah.
bliss and piss, up and down, good and bad,
Listen.
positive,
Yeah,
negative, right? It's
yeah.
we live in a realm of duality, interdependent polaric opposites. That is the nature of life. This
Mm.
is the Indians, the Hindus call it the Maya, right? We could call it the matrix. We live in the freaking matrix, right? And of conditioning. And just by being in it, there is a kind of gravitational sort of like contractive tendency to seduce us to look. There is this might be strong, but there is a kind of like let's be strong. There is a sort of
Let's go.
agenda, right? To have you and me and we as human beings forget who the hell we really are. There is an agenda to keep you disconnected from who you are. An agenda by who? Governments, advertisers, retailers, pharmaceutical companies. Because here's the thing, if we can like distract you with sort of nonsense TikTok videos about cats pooping and
Yeah.
parrots, parrots like screwing, then we get so scroll addicted and seduced that
Yeah.
we're so much of our attention is now out here in the nonsensical circus of the world and politics and Donald Trump and the circus of Biden and this and that. It's like, oh, now we've kind of like, we've gone so hypnotized that we're so distracted. We don't have time to go inside. We don't have time to question. Who am I? Why? Because we're so like, who's going to win the election? Oh my God, the interest rate, the recession, COVID, vaccine, oh, da, 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 da. We're so distracted that Now we are so disconnected. So there is a kind of just, you know, agenda to hijack your attention, because if you're so busy, you can't really question, you
Mm.
can't really be still, you kind of forget who you really are as an infinite being. You start believing in your limitation. You start believing that you are just this little like person, flesh and bones only, right? You start forgetting that maybe there is a spirit, a an intelligence, a freaking miraculous consciousness that is beating your heart and living you, and trillions of cells that are interacting just to be able to be alive. And we start believing, yeah, I'm just this little woe is me, and all the shit that happened to me when I was 5 and 10 is just that I'm just nothing. And when we forget who we are, that's when we can be controlled.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming. But I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that the Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
And that's when we can be sold. And that's when we can be manipulated. And so advertising and media is like tells us, I mean, hey, switch on the news. Do you ever hear, hey, you're powerful? 6 p.m. news today, you're powerful. Just letting you know, you can choose your response to your reality. All we hear is 7 million people died, 400
Yeah,
people died, this accident happened. The cat got killed. There's a genocide today. Oh, that's all we hear, constantly bombarding us. And so
it's true.
we have to be really intentional to realize that the world does not have is not interested in you knowing who you really are and knowing how powerful you really are, because when you know who you are, I am a child of God. When you know who you are, I'm a soul. I am energy. I am consciousness. You can no longer be controlled and manipulated with fear tactics.
Mm,
You will not buy into advertising and retailers telling you, "Hey, hey, 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 bro, you're not enough." But if you just wear this underwear,
yeah,
he's gonna love you. You're gonna be worthy. If you just like wear this watch and drink this beer, which is, by the way, 1999, it's gonna you're gonna be the man. When
right.
you can unplug yourself from that matrix hypnosis, then you become powerful and you become free. And then you become a creator that is destined and able to respond to life, and shall we say, start creating your reality. The secret that they don't want you and me to know is how powerful we really are.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it Jesus
Amen.
that said, look, I might be taking this out of context, but I think he was a great man in many ways. He was someone who inspired me. He said something like, the things I do, you can do these things and more. Like, that kind of has my interest. That the things I do, you can do these things. He didn't say, look, I'm great, you're not, and you cannot be anything like I am. The things I do, You can do these things and more. At least I'm nowhere close to that, but the possibility
Yeah.
has my interest,
Right.
anyway. So I think we have to be so we have to guard our attention. We have to be willing to unplug from the everyday TikTok and cultivate time in stillness so that we can
Hmm.
listen, pray, meditate, visualize, listen to the directive of your soul. So often we're so distracted by what's out here that we are taking our orders from the government and news networks and not our soul. And then we're not trusting what our soul is guiding us to do. And many of us, your soul is guiding. Your soul your soul is directing you. Hey, do this, write that, go here. But we're not listening. We've drowned out the voice of our soul. We're listening to the voice of so many other people and wondering why am I not happy? But I
Right.
found that if you listen to your soul, if you truly listen to your soul and you are obedient, you will always end up in the right place at the right time with the right people doing the right thing, even though the path and the route that you take may not be the one that you most expect.
Yeah. That's true, man. Yeah, and you got to trust the process. Like it goes back to the simplicity of everything's happening for me, not
Yeah.
to me. In
Uh,
in many regards, when anything happens that could be framed as adversity, I do my best to frame it as
yeah.
this is happening for me,
Yes.
not to me. And that
Yes.
simple mindset shift can make a profound difference. Like you said, you are powerful and we are all powerful beings, but our power gets muted in the distraction of the agenda of others.
Mm,
And
mm.
unfortunately, it's running rampant right now. The distraction and almost this overpowering of the mammalian mind, will
Yeah.
you, which
It's a
is
circus. It's a circus,
being
man.
it is, and we're outgunned. I tell specifically our Happy Hustle Club members. We talk freely in that club offline, most more so when we talk online in public. It's I and maybe not that I
I get you.
mute
I get you.
myself, but it's a little different. However, we talk about these major corporations. You named some of them. They all have millions and millions of dollars of research on how to distract us, how to
Yes.
program us, the social media apps, how to keep our attention, how
Of
to give us
course.
just the right dopamine dumps so we
It's
stay
bro.
scrolling.
It's business, man. It's
Yeah,
business, man.
it,
It's gangster business.
it is.
It's
It
it's
is.
just the way of the world. I'm not mad at them. It's just business, bro.
Right. So my question to you then, circling all the way back to, the magic of surrender, how
Yes.
do we surrender without losing our power?
Well, yeah, I think we have to understand what surrender really means,
Hmm.
right? Surrender doesn't mean waving the white flag. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. Surrender doesn't mean being a doormat. Surrender doesn't mean being taken advantage of, right? There's this misperception of what we think surrender means in our culture today, right? There's the thing. And because of that misperception, we're like, oh, surrender is weak. No, surrender, bro, if you look at the greatest people on the planet, Jesus, Buddha, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Mandela, right? Martin Luther King, Bruce Lee, right?
Heck
Childhood
yeah.
hero of mine, Muhammad
Same.
Ali. Bro, these were not weak people, right? But Elon Musk, I mean, love him or hate him, but I don't know how many people would take $200 billion of PayPal money, follow their guidance, and be like, I'm swinging for the fences. That's a level of surrender,
Heck yeah.
Oprah
Respect.
in her own way. And
Yeah.
so I would say that at some point, anyone that has done anything great, they all reached a point where they got a deeper guidance and they had to surrender to what their soul. They may not have known it was their soul, but they had to surrender to that deeper calling, the deeper impulse of the soul. And in that surrender, they were able to transcend their human limitations. And that's when they tapped into grace. That's
Mm.
when they tapped into the infinite potentiality and possibilities of life, and life was able to flow through them and use them in ways that they could not have even imagined themselves.
Hmm.
Like if you look at Mandela, 27 years in prison.
I
You
know.
can't plan
Crazy.
that life, man.
No.
You can't sit there in a mastermind. Okay, I'm going to spend 27 years in prison, then I'm going to
Yeah.
come out and be president. That is beyond the human ego's capacity and imagination to even plan your life. That is divine. That is the magic that happens when you surrender. So surrender is the most powerful thing that you can do. Surrender is the real path to manifestation. Surrender is the real password to real freedom. So please don't think surrender is weak and passive. Sometimes, right? People think that, oh, surrender, oh, it's weak. It's just going to the Himalayas and giving up. Surrender, like sometimes surrender is not laziness. Surrender means that you listen to the deepest truth of what your soul is guiding you to do. You listen to the deepest clarity and guidance of what God is directing you to do. And sometimes it ain't what you want.
Right.
Sometimes
Right.
the direction that the divine gives you, the direction that your soul gives you, is the exact opposite of what you want to do. You mean what? Do that? I don't want to do that. But there's a deeper direction, and when you surrender, you are no longer listening to the limitation and the addiction and the biological urges of your body or your ego mind. You are surrendering to a deeper intelligence. You are surrendering to divine will. You are surrendering your life to a calling, a purpose that is bigger than yourself, and then you're aligning yourself with that directive. That is the real power. That is the real freedom. And so sometimes that means it doesn't mean you just follow whatever mood you have and emotion you have, and I don't feel like exercising today, so I'm just going to surrender to the flow. That's called laziness, bro.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm married, but I'm attracted to that hot chick over there, so I'm just going to surrender to my feeling and sleep
Right.
with her. That is not surrender. That is like lack of discipline and being a slave to your biological urge. Surrender means to feel the deeper calling of your soul,
Mm.
and when you really surrender to this is what I'm afraid, I'm terrified, I'm not in the mood, but this is what I'm being directed to do by a higher power, by
Mm.
my soul, by my innate intelligence. And even though I don't feel like it, I'm going to follow this deeper calling because I have a deeper commitment than listening to my mind. And so surrender is something. The old paradigm, right, is, and sometimes this is a bit prevalent in self-help and spirituality. It's my field. We're conditioned to ask the question, hey, you got to know what you want, get clear on what you want, write your goals down, and then just go for it. I'm not saying this isn't good. I'm not saying you can't manifest this way. But what I have found is that the ego has its limitations. And when you live a life run by the ego, you might manifest great things, good things, but they will not be truly great things or God things. You might manifest amazing things, but they will always be limited in some way because the ego is not able to see the entire possibility and picture of life. The ego has a small, limited perception. And
Mm.
you might
Yep.
get everything that you thought you wanted, only to realize that what you thought you wanted was just what you thought you wanted based on who you thought you were. And if you're not in touch with who you are, the ladder's on the wrong wall. So the real question I would invite people to ask themselves as they look at surrender is not what do I want, right? But is what is it that life is seeking to express through me? What is it that my soul is seeking to express through me? What is it that God is guiding me to do? What is it that the deepest impulse of what life is seeking to create through me, speak through me, and to follow that? When you follow that, you will always be on the right path. And to me, that is the real freedom. And so surrender is a letting go of control. It is a letting go of the idea of how you think life should be and how you think life should look so that you can be open to the magic. That's when you're open to the miracles
Mm.
beyond your limited mind's capacity. And so
Yeah.
you talk about the way of the world and the nonsense in the world, right? If you really feel your deepest truth, it doesn't mean just following whatever agenda your parents tell you, whatever agenda the government tells you, whatever agenda your friends tell you to got to be this way. Sometimes it means, wait a second, I feel something different. I feel a calling for more. And it might mean saying, you know what, I'm afraid to go in this direction. I'm afraid to speak my truth. I'm afraid, but something is telling me I need to go here. And it might
Mm,
mean protesting. And it
yeah.
might mean writing that book that you're afraid to write. It might mean having a conversation you're afraid to have. It might mean launching the business that you've been resisting because, oh, what will people think? But if your soul is guiding you to do that and it's in alignment, that is what surrender. Surrender is the courage to follow your deepest truth, even though it might go against conventional wisdom.
Mm. Wow. Amen. Powerful, my man. Real powerful. You know, I think of surrender, and just to kind of recap some of the things you said, surrender means to feel the deeper calling of your soul, right?
Yes, yes,
And it means to really ask yourself, okay, what is my soul seeking to express inside me, to create through me?
absolutely.
Beautifully said. Following the direction of the divine, and sometimes you sacrifice the good things for the great things or the God things. I
The
love
God
that.
things.
Yeah, that was powerful. I want to ask you real quick: have you read The Surrender Experiment by Mickey Singer?
I have not.
Oh, must read, brother. Gotta
Yeah, he
gotta
was
get
good.
that. If did you read The Untethered Soul?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Oprah. Speaking of
I
Oprah,
know. I've heard. Yeah.
oh, she said this was the last book she would leave to humanity, if
Ah,
only
nice,
one book.
nice.
So check that book out. My brother was his personal mentee, Mickey Singer, so I got to meet him a couple times and meditate with him in Alachua, Florida, near Gainesville. He lives in the woods
Beautiful,
in a shack, but he's a billionaire.
beautiful,
He
beautiful.
invented like the
Yeah.
makings of WebMD. So nonetheless, read the book. Everyone out there, check it out. It's worth the
Ah,
read.
nice, nice.
Untethered Soul, and then the follow up is the Surrender
Surrender experiment.
Experiment. Okay, nonetheless, man, this is powerful stuff. You have really some depth to you beyond what we can truly get into in this episode. We might have to run this back sometime, bro,
Anytime, anytime.
because this has been a great combo. But I do want to talk about real quick where people can check out your book, The Magic of
Oh,
Surrender, and then also I know you have a pretty cool event coming up called
yeah.
Boundless Bliss Bali. So
Yes.
give us the details on those two things.
Well, the book is simple, The Magic of Surrender. I wrote, this was not the book I thought I was going to write, by the way. I wanted to write every other book but this. And
Yeah.
so I had to surrender to the book that was seeking to be written. And it
Mm.
is a passion of mine because I really, as you can tell, I really believe in
Yeah.
the power of surrender. And so people can find the book. You can simply go to Amazon and get the book there. Get the paperback version because it's updated. So that's what I would say. If you've been inspired by the conversation today in some way, for the last 13 to 14 years, I would say one of the most powerful transformative experiences that I do, because what I do is I sort of uncondition people. You know, for me, it's about helping people get free. That's really the essence of what I do. I'm not a coach. I uncoach, I uncondition, I unteach people from the
Nice.
patterns of conditioning that we've all developed over time.
Mm.
And so for the last 14 years, one of the things I've done is called Boundless Bliss, the Bali Breakthrough Experience. It's a 12-day experiential seminar training without walls that I do in Bali. And I would say
Nice.
it's one of the most powerful experiences on the planet. This is what hundreds of people that have attended have said. Um, it's an immersive experiential seminar training without walls where I take you through a truly profound, systematic, structured, intensive process that is designed to assist you in seeing all of the patterns of subconscious conditioning that may be inhibiting your full expression, and is designed to take you through a process that is meant to help you heal and release
Mm.
yourself in a profound way. And so it's a very deep process that helps you also connect to your true essence and your true power, helps you align with your soul, and helps to catapult you forward in connecting with your purpose and sharing your gifts with the world. And so I've done 23 of these journeys, brother, in the last 13 years. They're intensive, they're profound. This December, the 5th through the 16th, that's 5 through 16, this will be the final Boundless Bliss Bali event I ever do.
Oh,
It's my final one. It's number 24. And so if anybody is inspired, I was told 13 to 14 years ago that there were souls that were destined to do this journey. And when they heard about it, they would know. And over the last 14 years, it's been amazing. We've had people from billionaires and celebrities and entrepreneurs and business people and mothers and students, everyone from all walks of life that have attended. And they've said it's perhaps been the most life changing event of their life. And so you can find out more www.boundlessblissbali.com. That's boundlessblissbali.com. You can go to the website, watch the video, and if you feel called, you can apply. We have a few spots left.
amazing. Heck yeah, man. So, okay, now you got me wondering, how the heck did you get told this 30, 40 years ago? How old are you,
No,
man? You look
13, 13,
Oh, okay,
13.
13. I was like, "You
Yeah.
don't look that old, brother. What's your skincare routine? If
I just
so,
said
I
that, no.
need it."
That's what surrender does for you, brother.
Yeah, yeah, you just age in reverse. Good for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, very
13,
cool,
13.
man. Very cool. And Bali's magic in its own right. I've been there, and very cool spot. So I urge all the happy hustlers, check it out. If you feel the pull, at
Yeah,
least explore it, apply, see if it's a fit. Go to boundlessblissbali.com. Ah, man, this has been amazing. Let's just run through a couple of our traditional happy hustle hack questions that I ask all our
let's go.
guests, and then we'll put you through the rapid fire round, and then we'll wrap this up. So this is just what I'd like to deem a happy hustle hack. So a tip, a tool, a tactic, will you, in a couple different disciplines. First being health, and obviously, in order to truly manifest, in order to truly get the most out of this human experience, you have to take care of this body that
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
been given,
for sure.
right? So, what is something that you do that's maybe uniquely Coot that we can deem a happy hustle hack,
Health wise,
health wise?
bro, for me, it's very simple. The key to health is consistency.
Mm,
Honestly, that's the key. Uh, you can do this, you can do that. I see many people do crazy diets, keto, this, blah 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 blah.
yeah,
Crazy exercise routines, and they do it for a week or a month, and then they stop. For me,
yeah,
I exercise every single day, every day. I can't tell you the last time I missed. And so the key is consistency. The only time I miss is if I'm on a plane. And so if you can be consistent and just do what is sustainable every single day, like 7 days a week. This morning I cycled for an hour. Yesterday I did an hour and 20 minutes, 30 minutes of cardio, the other 15 minutes light weights. And so it's 7 days a week.
yeah,
Even if I'm traveling and I can only do 40 minutes of running, but the key is consistency. It's
yeah,
the small things that you do every day that add up. Now I've done different things like, hey, I take NMN. I've just started an NMN supplement routine. I take my simple supplements. I take my protein powders. I do my green powder every single day. But the key is the
mm,
cumulative consistency. And
yeah.
for me, the key around health and exercise and things like that is you have to make it non negotiable.
It's
This is a
true.
key. You
Yeah,
have to make it a choice that is not a choice. And that's
right.
what I've done. And that has set the foundation for my health. And
Yeah,
I drink about a gallon of water a day.
nice. Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, you
simple,
nailed it.
simple
Yeah,
things, simple
yeah.
things. But let me tell you, you can do a flashy diet for a week or two and then it's gone. Or if I could just do one thing and only one thing, it would be drinking my gallon of water a day.
Nice. Yeah, consistency is key. I mean, I like the phrase persistent consistency,
Yeah,
because sometimes, like you said, you don't want to do it, but you must persist consistently past that adversity and, daily movement, hydration, and just
simple.
eating
It's
smart.
simple,
And
bro.
I talk about it's really more what you don't eat than what you do eat. Like, stop
It's
shoving
simple.
crap down the pie hole.
It's
That's
simple.
pretty much it.
Yeah,
And
it's
you'll feel a
simple.
lot better.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been awesome. I do want to ask about money. So, a happy
Yeah.
hustle hack when it comes to money, I feel like you know, personally, money's a tool, it's an energy, it's a frequency, right? It makes you more of who you are, or can reveal that at least.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think is a happy hustle hack for money? Something that you do, maybe that you do to spend or save or invest wisely. Say maybe something you've done to accumulate money. Anything come to mind here for a happy hustle hack?
Man, you ask these hard questions because we could have an entire podcast
I
on
know,
this.
I know.
First, money is consciousness, money is energy. Money is not real. And if you want to make money, understanding the metaphysics of money to shift your relationship with money, I think is the foundation. Because the more you understand that money is energy, it's currency, it's something that flows. The pursuit of money will never make you happy because true abundance is a state of consciousness. True abundance is not money. True abundance is how you feel about yourself and about who you are. And when you know that you're a divine being, you, it's not about money. True abundance is about how you feel about yourself and being connected to the divine. True abundance is about how you feel about what you have. And you can have billions and millions of dollars and still be miserable and still feel poor and still
True.
feel live in scarcity. And so you have to understand the real nature of money. And when you understand that, it's not good or bad. It's just energy that you can use. It is a if you want to make money, understand that. If you want to make money, realize money is not the end goal and what makes you happy. If you want to make more money, realize that it is a necessary, it is simply a vehicle and a tool to function and facilitate movement and experiences in the three-dimensional matrix, right? It's a necessary facilitator in this matrix. And when you embrace it for what it is, don't give it more importance, don't give it less importance. You unplug yourself from the emotion of money because so much of the emotion of money is actually what contracts us and repels our ability to make more of it because we're so invested and attached to it. Now, I would say if you really want to make money, and you understand what money is, it's a transference of energy. Then the key is not to focus on how can I make money, how can I make money, how can I make money, how can I make money. The key is to focus on how can I add value. Because if
Hmm.
you really are focused on how can you add value, then you understand money is a spiritual endeavor. It's a
Yeah.
spiritual endeavor because it requires that you take the focus off of yourself and you put the focus on humanity by asking yourself, how can I add value? And you add value to humanity by solving a pain, a problem, or a challenge. And when you're able to solve a pain, problem, or challenge for people around you at greater and greater degrees and levels, the bigger problems you're able to solve that for more people. Money is just the transference of units of currency and energy that is the reward for your ability to solve pain, problem, or challenge. So it's not good or bad. It's just the ability to solve pain, problem, or challenges. And so that is the key. When you're really able to be of service, which is what the spiritual path is truly about,
Right.
then money is just a reward. Now, in order to make money, the other thing I'll just add is asking that question, but you need the right vehicle and you need the right strategy. If you don't have the right vehicle, you might be a massage therapist charging $100 an hour, but you ain't going to be a billionaire or probably not a millionaire doing $100 an hour and 3 massages a day. You got the wrong
Right.
vehicle. So you need to really look at what's the vehicle that can truly allow me to experience and achieve the level of money I want, because you might have the right idea, but you got the wrong vehicle. You might have the right idea, the right vehicle, but you have the wrong strategy. Strategy is the flow and sequence of actions, right? Because you might want to get from Montana to LA, but you start driving towards New York. That is the wrong strategy. And so to truly make money, you need the right purpose, the right relationship, the right focus of service, the right vehicle, and the right strategy. And once those aligned with consistent action and perseverance, you increase the possibility of making money because you're solving a pain, problem, challenge, and need in the world. That's kind of
Mm.
like a mini hack. I mean, it's more than a hack, but I
Hey,
want to share with you.
epic. I love it, man. I mean, a couple points I got to echo before we move on. You talked about becoming a value creator. That in and of
That's the
itself,
foundation.
that's the foundation. And it's like, how do you become more valuable to the marketplace, i.e., your niche or whatever pain problem or challenge that you're actually solving?
Hmm.
This is the essence. And I mean, you said so many amazing things here. Money really is a form of stored energy, and it's not real. It's made up.
It's made up, bro. It's
And
zeros and zeros and zeros. And
right.
one thing spiritual folks have to get over is that money has so much meaning, and it's good and it's bad, and it's like God doesn't care how many zeros you have. Oh no,
No.
God doesn't give a shit.
No.
To be honest,
Yeah. Right.
it doesn't like it's money is the root of all evil. No, it's how you use it. It's your intention. It's your
True.
relationship with it. And so
And,
yeah,
well, and not only that, man. You and I both know very wealthy people who aren't happy and are unfulfilled, and you see it all the time. Like millionaires and billionaires will actually commit suicide because their unhappiness is running rampant within their soul. So it's proof that money truly doesn't buy happiness consistently. Maybe fleeting, right? That it's not a sustainable purchase of joy. It's you get like you talked about the Ferrari. Yeah, you might be happy in the moment, but it's not going to last forever. So I think it's very important to recategorize money in your mind, know what it is and what it isn't. It's a facilitator in the matrix of this human experience, and it is important. We're not saying it's not,
listen,
but
bro.
yeah,
If you want to feed the orphans in India,
right. You
you
need
and me
money,
sitting here and praying for them will not ease their hunger.
right? True.
You want to go into Whole Foods, as powerful as prayer is, you want to go into Whole Foods and get some good organic food and not eat
Yeah,
the chemically processed crap that we're
true.
fed, right? You go into Whole Foods and say, "Look, I don't have money, but let me meditate and pray for you."
Yeah,
Right? Like, I need your
please,
whole
Jeff
paycheck,
Bezos,
right?
please.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Doesn't make sense. And so money
true,
is a necessary facilitator for sure. And I think we have to embrace that, and
true.
allow ourselves to receive it.
Right. Exactly. All right. Hold on one sec. I got the four wheelers whipping around out here. This is my brother. He
Nice.
doesn't know. I guess I'm podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the question now is on spirituality when it comes to a happy hustle hack, because we've talked about, many different religions. Will you? For me, I was raised as a religious mutt, will you? My mom's Jewish, my dad's Catholic, but then I fell into Taoism very early on and was training
Nice,
with the
nice,
Kung Fu
nice.
priest and Tai Chi master from Wudong Mountains in
Cool,
China. And
cool.
so I'm really much, just a seeker, will you? But I'm curious for you, what would you say has been a happy hustle hack that you can share with the audience?
Let's keep it simple. Meditate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what's your process?
Just
Because I
sit
feel like
down.
a lot of people get
We
confused
could we
there.
could have another podcast on that, but I would just say sit down, close your eyes, and be still. You start there, the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
The,
I
the
talk
hardest
about,
part, the
yeah.
hardest part of meditating is sitting down.
That's so true, man.
And I think if we just start there, the rest will take sit for 15, 20 minutes a day and just be still and
So,
observe the thoughts. I mean, again, I don't want to go too deep, but I
right.
think if we just committed to I'm just going to sit and just be for 20 minutes and just observe my thoughts, see what happens. Start
Yeah.
there.
In bonus points if you're in nature and can do that outside. That's why I love going in the wilderness. I'm gonna send you a copy of my book right after this, but one of the things we talk about is sits, chill in the still. Just sits your ass down and chill in the still. That's my acronym within our framework. So I love that you mentioned it. This has been awesome, man. I do want to put you through the rapid fire round, then we'll wrap
Okay,
this up. Real quick, answer honestly. First thing that comes to mind. Are you ready? Okay,
let's go.
let's go. Favorite food?
Sushi,
Favorite movie?
vanilla sky.
Favorite book?
I don't have one.
First one that came to mind.
I am that
Nice. What's your spirit animal?
dragon.
Oh, nice. Best business advice?
Mm. focus on adding value.
3 things you're most grateful for today.
My wife, my son, a human incarnation.
Mm. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on there, what does that billboard read?
Love now.
Crush that rapid fire round, Coot. And man, I just want to just take a moment to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your gifts, your ability to simplify surrender for the happy hustlers and to tap into the divine and just some very profound things that you have said today. And yeah, man, just love this chat with you. So I appreciate you. And yeah, thank you for being who you are.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Now, remind everyone, where's the best place for everyone to follow you online? I know you got hundreds of thousands of followers and you're pretty active on some of the platforms. Give people
Yeah,
some places where they can
people
check
can
in on
find
you.
me on Instagram, Kute Blackson, Kute, Kute Blackson. Facebook, Kute, Kute, Kute Love Now. My main website, Kute, KuteBlackson.com. My podcast, Soul Talk, and yeah, www.boundlessblissbali.com for more about the event.
Love it. All right. We got those links. We'll put them in the show notes. This has been amazing, Coot. And brother, I just want to, again, say thank you and also ask one final question, which I ask all my guests, which is what does happy hustling mean to you?
Happy hustling is to enjoy and savor the process of the journey each moment. While you're doing what you're doing, you're not seeking to get to some destination to feel happy, but you're experiencing the happiness of the process in every step of the way, such that the journey and the hustle is the reward itself.
Mm, mic drop. Coot Blackson, y'all. Thanks for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everybody.